Hello and welcome to Martin Maths. We're preparing for our GCSE paper 2 here. It's a calculator paper, but I'm going to try and see how much I can do again without a calculator. I've got another video on the channel, so please do look at that. That goes through calculator paper questions you can do without a calculator. And I'm also going to look for 1 and 2 mark questions. Again, the quick wins that we're looking for here, so that you can feel confident going into an exam, knowing that you've banked quite a few marks, saving you some time so you can focus on the longer questions later. So here's a 1 mark question. Write 0.19 as a fraction. So it's a decimal to a fraction. Can we do that in a minute or less than a minute? 0.19, that's tenths, that's hundredths. So it's 19 over 100. And I can't simplify that any further. I don't think 19 is a factor of 100. So there we go. Under a minute, we've got a mark. Okay? And decimal into a fraction. So answer the question there. Fine. There's a longer fraction question, so I'm going to leave that for now. Another fraction question, I'm also going to leave that. If you've got any algebra, there's some questions that you can do without a calculator, so you don't have to worry about using the calculator. A 1 mark question, expand, and that really means multiply in algebra. 2 times A, 2 times D, everything on the outside of the bracket by everything on the inside. 2 times A is 2A, 2 times D is 2D. So there, write the answer there, 2A plus D. So I've expanded that bracket, again, under a minute. I know I'm moving fast here, but I'm trying to imagine that I'm under exam conditions where I'm trying to score marks and save myself time later in the exam to focus on the longer questions. Now I've got to factorize. So factorize is kind of like the division, looking for common factors. So we've got 6y squared minus 5y. 6 and 5, well, that's prime, so there are no common factors in the numbers. The only common factor there will be the y, leaving me 6y minus 5. And you should always check your answers by doing the reverse. So when I'm expanding, I could factorize the 2 out, get back to that. When I'm factorizing here, I could expand that and get back to 6y squared minus 5y. Okay, so it's under 3 minutes. I've definitely answered. Let's write the answer here, finally. Under 3 minutes, I've answered 3 marks. Here's a 2 mark question. I'm happily spending time on 2 mark questions as well. Got to solve this, remember. If you remember the balance method, you do the opposite operation and must do it to both sides. So 4x minus 7, what's opposite of minus 7? It's plus 7, so I add 7 to both sides. So we get 4x equal to, those cancel, 44. And then 4 times x, so divide by 4, 44 divided by 4. Hopefully you know numbers that look so similar will be in the 11 times table. X equals 11. And again, check your answer. By substitution, 4 times 11 is 44, minus 7 is 37. Okay, another 2 marks in under 2 minutes there, so we're doing well. There's some more algebra. Those might take a little bit longer because expand and simplify. If I was in an exam, I might leave those for later. Simultaneous equations, I might leave for now. Here's a graph question. So I've got to fill in a table and then draw the graph. So the skill you need here is substitution. Because all you're going to do is plug in these values in place of x. So we're going to find when x is minus 1 or x is 0, x is 1, x is 2, what is y going to be? And I'm going to start with what I think is the easiest one. Start when x is 0, because then I can just cross that one out and you can see y will be 2. Now if you know nth term or you know how a graph works, you can just add 2 onto that. But if you still want to practice the substitution, when x equals 1, y will equal 2 times 1 plus 2. 2 plus 2 is going to be 4. And as I say, now you should be able to see that pattern. They're going up in 2s, like an nth term sequence. And you can imagine the graph forming. So I should know that that's going to be 8. But if you want to check that, y is equal to 2 times 3 plus 2. 6 plus 2 is 8. Confirmed. this one here, that should be 10. Now I'll go to the negatives. I'd always start with 0 and 1 because those will be the easiest ones. Okay, it might only be a 2-mark question. I might be using more than 2 minutes here. Sorry, it's 2 marks for the plotting, 2 marks for the tables. Actually, it's a 4-mark question. I did say I was only going to focus on 2-mark questions, but this might be worthwhile if you split the 2 questions. Now I can go to the negative. Again, just look at the pattern. If I've had to add 2 to get to 2, that must be 0. But if you want to check that, do the substitution. Y equal to minus 2 plus 2. They'll cancel each other out. Okay, so that on its own is 2 marks. And if you're not sure how to plot, you could leave it and move on to another question. But now if you do know how to plot, remember, always plot x and y. And each of these is now a coordinate pair. So you've now got 0, 2, 1, 4, 2, 6, 3, 8, and so on. So start with those. 0 on the x-axis, 2 on the y, 1 on the x-axis, 4 on the y. And you can see the scales are actually different, so don't get caught out here. One block is 1 on the x-axis, but 2 on the y-axis. They've made it shrink a bit. 2 and 6. And really, with only 3 marks, 3 points entered, I can already see what the graph is going to look like. It's going to go like that, okay? Or I should do that better with a straighter line. Okay, but you hopefully get the idea where it's going. And you can see it should be a straight line. Okay, and then you can see, well, that's going to be 3, 8, and had I done it correctly, that would be 4, 10. And there's your minus 1, 0. Okay, so it took a little bit longer than that, but it was 2 2-mark questions. And I think if you think about the substitution there, or maybe think about the nth term, that should make sense. Okay, 7 minutes in here. Let's see how much more we can do. Try and do 10 minutes here. If you imagine taking a little bit longer in an exam, maybe this is going to take you 10, 20 minutes, but you'll bank some good marks in an exam. So we've done some fractions, we've done some algebra, done some graph, and let's look at there's an angle question. I've got lots of angle questions on the channel. Let's look at a probability question here, and just the 2-mark question for now. A news agent's shop, probability that any customer buys a newspaper is 0.6. So automatically you can think that them not buying is going to be 0.4, okay? Because all probabilities events should have to sum to 1. In the same shop, probability that any customer buys a magazine is 0.3. So not buying a magazine is going to be 1 minus that, so 0.7. Now we're going to complete this probability tree. All the information is here. We don't actually have to do any calculations. We don't have to do any operations. We just have to plug in those numbers. So that they buy a newspaper, buys a newspaper, 0.6, buys a magazine, 0.3. As I said, now I can do one calculation. 1 minus 0.6 is 0.4. 1 minus 0.3 is 0.7. So newspapers are more popular than magazines. But this event is independent from that. I'm assuming. They haven't said that the chance of someone buying the magazine depends on the chance of them buying the newspaper. So I'm going to write the same there. Okay, and that should get us 2 marks. There is a follow-on question. That's a 3-mark question. We have to do some more work there, but for this kind of quick wins type approach where I'm just looking at short answers that don't need too much reading, that don't need too much calculation, I'm going to stop there. And I've answered 2 marks there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 marks in about 10 minutes. So roughly aiming for a mark a minute. There we go. That's GCSE practice for a calculator paper. Trying to go for the quick wins, trying to not use the calculator too much at the moment, and save that for when we've banked some marks in some time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.